This tutorial is the first in a series all about curl damage and how to grow through it. Here's what we'll cover in this video. Before I introduce my lovely model, let's cover some foundational terminology and principles. Class is in session. Bond repair has been the new shiny catchphrase of the hair space, so let's start with what are bonds? The cortex is the middle layer of the strand made of protein and cells containing melanin pigment. The cortex is made up of millions of polypeptide chains cross-linked by three types of side bonds. Hydrogen bonds are weak physical bonds broken by water to allow the hair to be stretched and reform when the hair is dried. So, this type of bond is broken every time you wash your hair. Its ability to reform is dependent on how hair is treated when wet and styled. Salt bonds are weak physical bonds broken by drastic changes in pH or strong alkaline or acidic solutions, and they are neutralized by using products that adjust pH back to the normal range. For example, when you color your hair, the dye is on the high end of the alkaline side of the pH scale, and using after-color treatment adjusts the pH back down. Disulfide bonds are strong chemical bonds that determine the shape or texture of the strand, aka your curl pattern, and are permanently broken by chemical processes like relaxers or perms or excessive heat from tools like flat irons and curling irons. The cuticle is the outermost layer of the strand made up of overlapping cells that protect the cortex. When this layer becomes damaged from over-manipulation, friction, excessive heat, it frays open and is no longer able to protect the cortex. Cuticle damage also makes it harder for styling products with casting or hold to attach properly, which can cause flaking or hair to be excessively puffy or frizzy. Elasticity is a measure of the overall strength of the strand determined by balance of protein and moisture, how much it can stretch and return to its original shape without breaking. So, let's put all of this together. When we are talking about structural or curl pattern damage, this is where elasticity comes into play. If your hair is not balanced with enough protein and moisture and it is being over-manipulated physically or chemically over-processed, the cuticle layer of the hair is lifted and frayed, so the cortex of the hair loses moisture and becomes damaged. There are a number of symptoms that can be experienced, and they can be at varying levels of minimal to extreme damage. The severity of the damage and how long it has persisted determines how fixable it is. In some cases, altering your regimen will give significant improvement in the appearance and behavior of the hair. In other cases, you style through it as you grow new hair if you aren't interested in a big chop. Either way, there is a path to healthier hair, and how you get there is solely based on your willingness to be consistent, patient, and disciplined. No matter what caused the issue, the steps I am going to walk through now are ones you can apply to your regimen. Doesn't matter what your curl pattern is or your density level, these healthy hair regimen steps are applicable to all. I would like to introduce you all to Sade. She was a client of mine in New York for 3 years, and now she lives in Atlanta where I am. Sade wears a range of styles from natural to straight, extension ponytails, and braids. Over the course of the last several months, she has been experiencing a whirlwind of issues. Sade had braids installed twice this year at a local braid shop. After the first time, she noticed her scalp and hairline became very flaky, an issue that she had not had before. After the second time, when she took the braids out and washed her hair, she noticed severe shedding leading to loss of density and lots of straight pieces, along with an abundance of frizz and loss of curl definition. Based on what she shared with me and the 11 questions I had to ask to sort through what happened, here's what I've deducted. The excessive scalp flaking is likely a fungal bacteria gained from dirty tools being used during the braiding process. If combs, clips, and other items are not washed and properly disinfected, bacteria can be transferred to another client's scalp and spread around. Untreated, it manifests as extreme flaking. Now, this isn't the only culprit for causing dandruff or flaking, but in this case, that is what I believe happened. I have a full video on scalp issues and how you can treat them that I will link below this video. I also have a step-by-step instructional on how to clean and disinfect your tools that I would encourage all of you to watch and start doing immediately. The straight pieces and loss of curl pattern definition throughout is attributed to excessive heat from a non-ceramic blow dryer to prep her hair for braiding, and the dipping of the braids in boiling hot water and not excluding the part of the braid where her hair was intertwined. You have to be so careful going to unlicensed people for services. In this case, the damage is done. We cannot go back, only forward. So my goal is to get Sade back on track. I am going to walk you through this wash day and at the end give you the full regimen I am asking her to follow until I see her again. Starting with the scalp clarifier will ensure that product buildup, outside pollutants, and general debris from sweating and just existing are removed while maintaining the normal pH of your scalp. The salicylic acid in this treatment is going to gently exfoliate and help slow and stop flaking over time, as well as reduce excessive shedding. This formula is made to be used weekly. Even if you don't have flaky or itchy scalp, it is going to benefit the health of your follicles, which is critical for stimulating healthy growth. Next, I am going to cleanse with the Ultimate Hydrator. This shampoo has a unique blend of botanicals, essential oils, and proteins that give scalp and hair pH balance while improving the overall health with each wash. It's got carrot seed oil to stimulate growth, hydrolyzed wheat protein to strengthen, and marshmallow root to improve elasticity and combat itchy, dry scalp. Next, I am going to apply the elasticity restoring treatment, detangle, and cover with a cap for 10 minutes. Adding a heat source will help with penetration if you find your hair is having a hard time retaining moisture. Remember in the beginning of this video where I explained the cortex and cuticle to you? Well, all of that is what led me to make this treatment. Cuticle layer damage is common in curly hair, so you have to consistently treat it. This treatment is formulated to repair the cuticle or lipid barrier of your strands, so your hair retains more moisture with less frizz while strengthening and repairing. It's balancing the protein and moisture content in your strands. If you have any symptoms I listed earlier, from frizz to loss of curl pattern, heat damage, any of that, this treatment is going to help. Now, let me clarify a common misnomer in the hair space around treatments. Treatments are not miracles. They have potential to repair damage that isn't too excessive. In excessive damage cases, the best result you will get is more manageability or lessening of the symptoms you're experiencing, meaning you'll be able to more gracefully style through it as new hair grows in. I know there are things out here now telling you bonds can be fully repaired and all of that, but since the bonds in your hair come from your DNA as the hair was formed inside of your scalp, you cannot replace your DNA with an external topical item. Once hair is damaged, you can't revert it back to the condition it grew in with. You will have to grow new hair. And the good news is, hair is always growing. What repairing treatments seek to do is make your hair more manageable and reduce the symptoms of damage so you can style through it and prevent it from getting worse. Every wash day, the treatment works to support the strands and keep you until you wash and insert that treatment again. It is a week-to-week repair situation. If you bop around product to product, you probably won't get the results that you want. This is a game of consistency. As I am working through detangling Sade's hair, I can tell a difference in what I remember her curl pattern used to be versus what it looks like now. I am showing her where the hair starts to just be bone straight, and you all probably think she is crazy for laughing at this, but number one, she knows the risk she was taking going to someone who was not licensed or focused on the health of her hair. You have to take accountability for the role you play in your own disappointment. 2, she knows I am going to get her back on track. And 3, this is not the end of the world. Nobody is going to die from this. Being mad about it ain't gonna fix it. Only a solid regimen and consistency will. So we're going forward. Now that I've rinsed the conditioner out, I can really see what we are working with here. And yeah, this is excessive structural damage throughout. For reference, her hair used to have much more shrinkage, tighter wavy texture, and about 25% more density. The next thing I am going to do is cut this into a shape. Even if you have lots of frizz or definition issues, a good shape will hide a lot of that when you style it. This is also going to let me get started on getting the straight hair off the ends. I won't be able to get all of it off without doing a full-on chop, so this is a great first step. I'm giving her a classic 90-degree layer round shape, and I'll just take that nape hair up a little bit higher to account for the looser texture back there. It is amazing how much visible improvement you can get with just a haircut. Next, I am going to apply curl primer and separate into sections. This leave-in treatment has so many benefits. It detangles, it hydrates, repairs, it protects from structural and environmental damage, it refreshes, and it lays the foundation for definition and styling. This is a part of what I call the MoKnowsHair treatment trifecta. The scalp clarifier, elasticity treatment, and curl primer are giving you hydration, repair, and protection at each phase of the wash day process. I'm going to use the smoothing pudding to 3-strand twist. This is a buttery, rich cream with flexible hold that will not only hydrate and make hair smooth and supple, it is going to be more graceful to sleep with and not have her hair flattened to her head in the morning. Now, she will have to retwist some sections after a couple days or pin them up, but the flexibility and hold in the product will allow her to do that without it becoming a sticky mess. The key is not to overuse it. It should not look like cake batter. If you have visible pods of product after twisting, blot them away with a microfiber towel so you don't become flaky and sticky when dry. When you are working through damage, you have to reduce your expectations of longevity and style and focus on ways to extend it through modification. You can pin the front up or use a headband or make it into a bun or a high puff, but you will likely not get more than a few days at a time without frizzing unless you are inside mostly. If you live somewhere with high humidity or you are a pedestrian, you will have frizzy hair. If you don't wear your hair outside of braids or other covering styles often, your hair is going to be frizzy because it ain't got no home training. It don't know how to act. But really, y'all, frizz is a part of having curly hair. The severity of that frizz is determined by the health of your hair and the styling methods you use. Tangle teaser brushes are amazing for detangling and evenly spreading product through all curl types when styling. I am placing a shoppable link here for you and others later on in this video that YouTube may compensate me for. This is how her hair looks even with product applied. It's not clumping together and it's very puffy. So while there is some curl in here, it's not succinct and consistent all the way down, and she used to have a more defined pattern. This is why it's hard to keep styles for lots of days if you have structural damage. I like 3-strand twists for blending texture variances because it creates a spiral kind of like what you get with wand curls. It also adds more dimension and volume to the shape. This is something you just have to practice to get your hands to do. I am using my first and second fingers to equally divide the section and get my grip. Then I just flip my hand over and insert the other hand to take over that grip. Then pick up the first section, then second, then third, flip my hand over and do it again. It's like a 1, 2, 3 pick up and turn over rotation. I'm using clips at the root to hold it flat and to keep it from unwinding. And then once I get to the front, I am going to clip the end of the twist up to the root as well because there's a lot more straight hair up there and it's not going to hold without some support. You can also use perm rods for this to help the shape. Once all of the hair is twisted, I'm going to have Sade sit under the hooded dryer for about an hour or so, and then I will take it down and separate. I don't want to overly fluff this because I want her to get as many days as possible out of it. You can add a finishing or shine oil of your choice, edge gel, and even some holding spray to help more with humidity. This is the regimen I am asking Sade to stick to. I will see her in about 6 weeks or so to check in, and we'll make modifications if needed. First things first, I am having her make an appointment with a dermatologist to have her scalp and hairline examined to see if there is a condition that needs more treatment. In the meantime, this flaking needs some extra medicated power to kill the fungus. So I am having her use Nizoral the same way I apply the scalp clarifier before washing. Massage it in and rinse it out. I am hoping for improvement when I see her again so we can switch out of this to the scalp clarifier to maintain it. I also noticed some breakouts around the hairline that could be allergic reaction, could be eczema, or something else. So I am having her use a hypochlorous acid spray to help reduce that inflammation. I am also asking her to stop using oil in her scalp because it's making the itching and flaking more intense. Instead, I told her to mist her scalp with rose water if needed. These adjustments should help start relieving the scalp symptoms, and I hope to have results from her dermatology appointment by the next time I see her. Her wash day will be a simple cleanse, condition, and natural style. Literally the least amount of steps possible. This is not a time to go overboard and start making kitchen concoctions and doing the most. You need simplicity and consistency. If you are not disciplined enough to apply repetition, you won't see results. It's going to take more than a week or two. It's going to take a couple of years to grow a new head of hair. My hope is to reduce the frizziness and clear up her scalp immediately. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Building healthy hair habits will serve you for the long run. I want her to resist the urge to re-wet the hair because that's just going to make it sticky, dry it out, and make it prone to more breakage. If absolutely unavoidable, and for those of you with short hair, try to get a few days out of it and then use the moisturizing co-wash to reset or start over, and that will hold you until your next full wash day. I am having her get barbicide to disinfect all of her tools and make sure that you are washing those scarves, pillowcases, scrunchies, and whatever else you use regularly. You need to make sure that you're drinking lots of water and eat nutrient-dense food. You can buy all the products you want, but if your diet is trash, your hair and skin will reflect that. Now, Sade would prefer to go 2 weeks between washes, but that's not going to work. Hair cannot hold moisture that long, and her scalp is going to keep producing the flakes without treatment. You need to cleanse and deep condition every week. I love how this style turned out. I recall her having a lot more bulk and density in the final twist out results years ago, but for what she's been through, I think this looks amazing, and we are going to focus forward from here. I hope you learned some new things and this helps you add to or modify your regimen. In the next installment of this series, I will talk about hair growth cycles and more things you can do to improve your regimen and style through it. You will find links to everything used as well as links to related tutorials you should watch in the About section below this video. You can learn more and get the MoKnowsHair collection at MoKnowsHair.com.